class! Welcome to our first flipped classroom video. Today, we will be discussing The Scarlet Letter, written by Nathaniel Hawthorne. This lesson has a lot of important information, so remember to have a pen and paper next to you and write down the information that seems the most important to you. As always, you are more than welcome to stop or pause this lesson whenever you want to. Before we begin discussing The Scarlet Letter, I think it is imperative that we learn a little bit about the author, Nathaniel Hawthorne. Nathaniel Hawthorne was born on July 4th, 1804 in Salem, Massachusetts. Now I know what a lot of you are saying. Salem? Isn't that the place that had the witch trials? Well, yes it is. But be patient, guys. We will get to that later on in the lesson. Now, back to Nathaniel Hawthorne. Hawthorne's ancestors were among the very first Puritans who settled in the New England area. His grandfather was actually one of the judges in the Salem witch trials. How crazy is that, right? Because of his roots, he was fascinated by the old Puritan way of living. He wrote most of his books about Puritans and their lives in Massachusetts. Hawthorne went to Bowdoin College. This is where he wrote his very first book, Fanshawe. Nathaniel Hawthorne has three common themes in most of his writings. They are 1. Puritan living, 2. Evil, and 3. Sin. His books are also categorized as dark romance. Unfortunately, Hawthorne died in 1864 at age 59. He is also known as one of the major American writers, which is why, class, we are learning about him in this lesson. Okay, I hope all of you have got that. If you didn't, you can pause the video and review what you have missed. As I previously stated, Hawthorne wrote a lot of books about Puritans and Puritan life. Therefore, we will now discuss the background of the Puritan people. The word Puritan actually comes from the derivative of pure. Go figure. The Puritans are English Protestants who believed the Church of England was corrupt. Because of this, they escaped England and moved to Massachusetts for religious freedom. Now on a side note, the Puritans would have been killed if they had stayed in England because the king forbid them from practicing their religion. They were an agriculture class and lived in houses that surrounded the church in which they practiced their religion. Puritan beliefs developed from the teachings of John Wycliffe and John Calvin, who were religious reformers. Wycliffe was a famous professor of philosophy, and Calvin was a leader of the Reformation. The Puritans considered the Bible as the true law of God that provided guidelines for church government. Now, students, I want you to pause the video and reflect on how you view the Bible. Do you believe in the Bible? Do you believe it is the true law of God? Do you believe it is a book of made-up stories? Or do you believe it is a faithful book? Write down your answer and we will discuss it tomorrow in class. Welcome back, students. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on the previous question. Okay, now back to the lesson. Puritans believed that all Christian churches should be organized through councils called presbyteries, or church courts, rather than under bishops, like the Church of England. Some Puritans believed that each congregation was a complete church in itself and should have total control of its own affairs. Since Puritans are very religious and pure, they stressed grace, devotion, prayer, and self-examination to achieve religious virtue. Lastly, they wanted more personal prayers and fewer prescribed prayers. Now, class, the way that I take this is that they wanted less prayers, like the Our Father and Hail Mary, and more prayers that come from the heart. Think about prayers that you might say when you go to bed or before a meal. Those are more from the heart than other prayers you might say. Since the Puritans took the Bible and religion literally, They shunned anyone who broke one of the 10 commandments. The commandment that we need to know in this lesson is commandment number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. After reading the Scarlet Letter, you will know the significance of this commandment. The Scarlet Letter revolves around a Puritan woman named Hester Prynne. Since a Puritan woman is the main character in this story, it is important for you to know a little bit about women and their roles in society. Puritan women provided a heaven within their homes. They gave birth to children and acted as midwives for other women in labor. In their homes, they teach the children in their town about the Bible and reading and writing. They also provide nursing and medical care for the children and husbands and care for the poor and needy. Although these women seem strong and as though they run the household, they actually do not. Puritan women are allowed to attend worship services, but not to speak or offer prayers. They are also not allowed to attend town councils with the intent of speaking or voicing their own opinion. So basically, Puritan women are only used to raise children, take care of their husband when he gets home, and maintain the household. Now, girls, I want you to think how you would feel if you didn't have a say in anything. Would you feel like you were trapped with nowhere to go? I know I would. Think about this question and be ready to answer it tomorrow in class. Now I want you to pause this video and look at this picture. From what you have just learned, what do you think this woman is thinking about? How do you know? Look at the background and the details in the picture. Where do you think she's going? Does she look happy? Does she look sad? I want you to analyze this picture and come to class tomorrow with your answers. Welcome back, students. I can't wait to hear your analysis of the previous picture. So as I promised in the beginning of this lesson, we will now discuss the Salem witch trials. So here we go. The trials were obviously in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692 and 1693. These trials were set to prosecute people of witchcraft. The people found guilty would die from being hung on a noose. The Puritans decided to kill people they thought were witches because they thought Satan was on earth among everyone in these witches. They believed when things like infant death, crop failures, and fights among the congregation occurred, the supernatural or Satan was involved. Now look at these two pictures. These two pictures are from the Salem witch trials. Look at the detail within the picture, the women, and what's going on. By looking at these two pictures, you can tell how the Salem witch trials actually looked. Now that you have learned about Nathaniel Hawthorne, the Puritans, the Puritan women, and the Salem witch trials, it is now time to go over a few facts about the Scarlet Letter. This book was written in 1850, and it is in a fictional story based in Boston, Massachusetts, in a Puritan village. The story is revolved around the major theme of symbolism. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. We will talk about that in our next lesson. Now, to end today's lesson, I want to leave you with a trailer I found on YouTube that gives you a sneak peek of what is to come from the Scarlet Letter. I hope all of you enjoyed the lesson and come up with great answers to the questions I have asked. Have fun watching the video and see you all tomorrow.